All right, let's dive into something a little different today. We're going to be taking a look at the sales page for a dating advice product. And the title is really something, it's called One Ways to Get Women.
Yeah, it definitely grabs your attention, doesn't it? And the thing is, it's very specifically targeted.
Yep.
It's for men who want to, well, attract Latinas.
Yeah, like they've really narrowed down their niche, haven't they? And they're playing at
Yeah.
this whole secret angle, promising to reveal all these hidden ways to win over Latinas.
It's fascinating how it sort of taps into this idea that there's like a special knowledge you need, like there are these unique approaches that work specifically for dating women from certain backgrounds.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. Right off the bat, we're seeing all the classic sales tactics. Big discounts, limited time offers, countdown timers ticking away.
Oh yeah, all that. It really preys on that fear of missing out. Act now or you'll miss this incredible opportunity. Makes you want to click buy before you even think about it.
And then there's the language they use, talking about turning Latinas into loyal mistresses with their ILSC method. Feels very over the top, doesn't it? Almost like a movie trailer or something.
It definitely has that kind of fantasy element to it. Like it's appealing to a desire for adventure, excitement, maybe even a sense of, I don't know, conquest.
Okay, but let's get to the actual content they're promising. They say they'll teach you the cultural nuances of dating Latinas. Is there any real value in that, or is it just a bunch of stereotypes?
Hmm, that's a good question. I mean, it's important to be sensitive to cultural differences and all that, but there could be some value in exploring how, say, cultural norms or values might influence dating, right?
So acknowledging that people from different backgrounds might have different expectations or ways of communicating isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Exactly. The key is to approach it with respect and a willingness to learn, not just relying on stereotypes or making assumptions about entire groups of people.
I see. But they also talk about mastering your relationships with Latinas. That phrase just feels a little off to me.
I know what you mean. The whole idea of mastery implies this kind of power imbalance, like you're trying to control the relationship or something.
Right. A healthy relationship should be about mutual respect, open communication, wanting to grow together, not one person mastering the other.
Totally agree. It's more about seeing a relationship as a partnership, a journey where both people feel empowered to express themselves honestly.
Absolutely. So they're really pushing this secrets angle hard. It's like they're saying Latinas are this mysterious, exotic species that you need special techniques to understand.
It's a common marketing tactic for sure, but we have to remember that reducing individuals to stereotypes or exotic objects is never going to lead to genuine connection.
No, of course not. Everyone deserves to be treated as an individual, regardless of their background, their own personality, values, experiences, all of that.
Well said. And that's a really crucial point to keep in mind as we keep going with this deep dive into the sales page. It's easy to get caught up in the hype and lose sight of what really matters.
Mm.
Genuine connection and mutual respect.
Okay, so we talked about their sales tactics and like the general vibe. But what about the actual advice they're giving? They keep mentioning this Latina seduction blueprint, like it's some foolproof system or something.
Yeah, the whole blueprint thing is interesting. It sounds very structured, almost mechanical. But relationships are way more complicated than that.
Right. It's not like you can just follow a set of instructions and suddenly everyone's attracted to you.
Exactly. Attraction's this whole complex thing. It's about personality, chemistry, shared values, life experiences even. And yeah, maybe cultural influences play a role too.
They make a big deal about this instant Latina sensual chemistry method too, or ILSC. They say it can short-circuit the rejection filter in a Latina's brain.
Sounds like they're trying to be like experts in neurochemistry all of a sudden. But I think we got to be careful with these kinds of claims. Human interaction is way too complex for a simple formula.
Yeah, no kidding. And even if there was some truth to it, talking about short-circuiting, someone's brain just feels kind of creepy, doesn't it? Like we're trying to hack into their system.
I get what you mean. It definitely raises some questions about like manipulation and consent. Dating should be about genuine connections, not tricking someone into liking you.
All right, let's look at some of the bonus materials they're offering. They've got a report on how to avoid flaky behavior from Latinas, which honestly sounds kind of condescending.
I see what you're saying. The way they phrase it is a bit iffy. Flakiness isn't exclusive to any one culture or group, right? People from all walks of life can be unreliable or whatever.
It's an individual thing, not a stereotype.
Exactly. Judging someone based on their culture, that's just not fair, and it's probably going to get in the way of actually connecting with them.
Then there's the report on how to understand their unique sense of humor. Again, reducing a whole group of people to a single sense of humor.
Like, there's this secret comedic formula that'll work on all Latinas, right? But humor is totally subjective. What one person finds funny, another might find offensive.
Totally. Trying to tailor your humor to a stereotype is just going to come off as forced and fake. Better to just be yourself and let your natural humor come through.
For sure, authenticity is key. People are drawn to those who are comfortable being themselves.
They also offer a guide on how to meet Latin women online. Okay, online dating's a thing, but this feels like another way to, like, exploit the fetishization of Latinas.
Yeah, it's important to approach online dating with the same respect you would any other kind of dating. Focus on building real connections based on shared interests, mutual attraction, not on seeing people as, like, commodities.
Right. Don't treat it like you're shopping for a specific type of person.
Exactly. And be wary of anyone claiming to have the secrets to online dating success. There are no guarantees when it comes to human connection.
This whole sales page keeps going on about the truth of what Latinas want. They even say, it's not what you think. Feels manipulative, you know, using stereotypes to create intrigue.
Oh, definitely. It's that classic marketing thing, right? Making bold claims, creating urgency, trying to make you feel like you're missing out on some crucial knowledge.
But there is no single truth about what any group of people wants.
Absolutely not. People are individuals, each with their own unique desires and preferences. Reducing a whole demographic to stereotypes, that's inaccurate and disrespectful.
They also claim to teach you how to master your relationships with Latinas so you don't mess things up.
Yeah.
Again, this language of control, it's just uncomfortable.
I hear you. Healthy relationships are about partnership and respect, not one person controlling the other.
It's like they're framing relationships as this game to be won, with Latinas as the prize.
Definitely a problematic way to look at it. Every individual deserves respect and dignity, no matter their cultural background.
They do mention simple and super inexpensive first date strategies. Maybe there's something worthwhile there.
Yeah, maybe they're suggesting thoughtful but low-key dates. Focusing on getting to know each other. The framing is a bit off, but the advice itself might not be bad.
Yeah, like going for a walk, having coffee at a nice cafe, things like that.
Right, exactly. Stuff that allows for conversation and connection without being too formal or pressured.
But then they keep coming back to this idea of knowing the key differences between dating Latinas and dating women who were raised in the Western world. It's like they're trying to create this divide instead of finding common ground.
I see your point. Acknowledging cultural differences can be good, but framing it as this stark contrast, it's too simplistic and just reinforces those harmful stereotypes.
It's like they're saying there's a separate rule book for dating Latinas, which is just ridiculous.
Totally. The basics of a strong connection, respect, communication, shared values, those are universal. They go beyond cultural boundaries.
They also talk about avoiding the mistakes that ruin relationships. Is that helpful or just fear-mongering?
Well, learning from mistakes is definitely valuable, both your own and those of others. But every relationship is different. What's a deal breaker for one person might not be a big deal for another.
So it's not about sticking to some rigid set of rules.
Right. It's more about open communication, respect, working through challenges together.
Okay, but they say Latinas are only flaky and hard to get out on a date because you did something that made them feel uncomfortable without you knowing it. Is there any truth to that?
It's possible that someone might hesitate to date you if they felt uncomfortable because of something you did. But saying flakiness is specific to Latinas. That's a generalization. People of all backgrounds can be flaky for all sorts of reasons.
It feels like they're shifting the blame. Like if a Latina isn't interested, it's the man's fault for not understanding some secret code.
That's a valid interpretation. We should definitely take responsibility for our actions and make sure we're treating everyone with respect. But we shouldn't assume we know why someone's acting a certain way.
They claim to reveal the little things you can do that will build instant trust and rapport.
Interesting how they emphasize instant. Building real trust and rapport, that takes time, consistent effort. Showing up authentically, being empathetic, really getting to know someone.
So no shortcuts to a strong connection.
Not really. It's a process. It happens organically through shared experiences, open communication, allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
They even say these little things will make someone so eager to be with you that they will be texting and calling to see you.
Again, it's framing attraction as something you can manipulate. but you can't force genuine attraction.
Right. It comes from shared values, mutual interest, that chemistry thing.
Exactly. And trying to manipulate someone into feeling a certain way, that's disrespectful and it usually backfires.
They feature a testimonial from a legendary dating coach named Carlos Xuma. He says he can teach you to make a powerful and confident first impression that'll have your date fantasize about with you afterwards and make her crave being with you again.
Testimonials like that, especially with such strong language, it's good to be a bit skeptical. Learning how to present yourself well and make a good first impression is valuable, but using that to manipulate someone into fantasizing about you, that crosses a line.
So take Carlos Xuma with a grain of salt.
Definitely. Being confident and engaging is good, but healthy relationships are built on respect and consent, not manipulation or pressure.
They say Carlos can teach you how to ensure your date wants to be with you. That language of control again, really troubling.
Like you can somehow make someone want to be with you, which you can't. You can't force feelings.
Attraction is complex, it just happens. You can't manufacture it.
Exactly. It's about mutual interest, shared values, a genuine desire to connect.
One of the bonuses is a report on how to bust out of the friend zone. I gotta admit, I'm kind of curious about this one.
The friend zone is usually talked about as this place guys get stuck when they like a girl who only sees them as a friend, but people have the right to define their own relationships and boundaries, right?
So if someone says they just see you as a friend, you gotta respect that.
Absolutely. Trying to bust out of the friend zone usually involves manipulative tactics to change someone's feelings. That's disrespectful and probably won't work anyway.
It's that they're saying, follow these steps and you can trick someone into liking you.
Which totally ignores the other person's feelings and choices.
And it creates this dynamic of manipulation and coercion. Not exactly a healthy foundation for any relationship.
Exactly. Healthy relationships are about respect, open communication, genuinely wanting to connect, not manipulation or tricks.
They also include a report on how to attract and date models. It's like they're preying on that desire for exclusivity, status symbols.
Yeah, it's framing certain types of women as more desirable, more valuable. That's a problem. It creates these harmful hierarchies.
It's reducing women to object to be acquired instead of seeing them as individuals with their own worth.
For sure. Every person deserves respect and dignity, regardless of their job or how they learn.
They have a report called How to Woo a Woman. Find, date, and marry the woman of your dreams. Like a step-by-step guide to the one.
Yeah, pushing this idea that there's one perfect person out there for everyone, and you can just follow a formula to find them. Relationships are messy. There's no guarantee you'll find someone who matches your ideal exactly.
It's more about finding someone you're compatible with and working together to build something strong and healthy, right?
Exactly. It's about shared values, respect, open communication, and being willing to grow together.
They even include 300 Spanish text messages to flirt with girls. Seriously.
Wow. Reducing communication to a bunch of pre-written scripts? That's just so impersonal.
Like copy and paste these messages and any Latina will fall for you.
Right. It completely misses the point of genuine connection and how everyone communicates differently.
It takes all the spontaneity and effort out of getting to know someone and expressing yourself authentically.
Yeah, and it reinforces that idea that there's a formula for attraction when really it's much more nuanced and individual.
Well, we've gone through a lot here. This sales page is just packed with promises and claims. Some are definitely more questionable than others.
Yeah, it's a good example of how the dating advice industry can prey on people's insecurities and their desire for quick fixes.
But it's also a reminder that building healthy relationships takes a different approach.
100%. It's about approaching dating with respect, authenticity, and genuinely wanting to connect with another human being.
So we really went deep on this one ways to get women thing, huh? It's definitely been eye-opening seeing how they're marketing it, especially with the whole Latinas angle.
Yeah, it's highlighted some things about the dating advice industry as a whole, wouldn't you say?
Mhm.
How some of these products, they really tap into specific, I guess, desires and insecurities.
One thing that's really clear to me now is that all this focus on manipulation, on secret techniques, that's just not the way to connect with anyone in a meaningful way.
I agree completely. It's about shifting the focus. Instead of trying to get someone, it's more about understanding how to build genuine connections.
I think it's actually kind of dangerous to believe there's this like magic formula for attraction,
Yeah.
It just sets people up for disappointment. It could even lead to well, harmful behavior.
You're right. We got to remember relationships are built on respect, shared values, honest communication,
Yeah.
and wanting to connect with the other person, seeing them as an individual.
Recognizing their worth, their dignity, no matter their background.
Exactly. And knowing that genuine connection, it can't be forced. It happens organically when two people are open to being themselves, sharing their true selves.
This whole deep dive has really made me see that the qualities that are truly attractive, a lot of times they can't be taught in a course or a book.
I couldn't agree more. It's things like kindness, empathy, having a good sense of humor, really listening to someone. Those are the things that draw people in.
Yeah. Being comfortable with who you are and letting other people do the same.
Right. And remembering that a strong relationship, it takes time, effort, and being willing to be vulnerable, open to growing both as individuals and together.
That's a great note to end on, I think. It's not about shortcuts or mastering some secret technique. It's about genuine connection, treating others with respect and kindness.
Well put. And remembering that everyone, regardless of their culture or background, deserves to be treated as a unique individual with their own values, experiences, desires.
Yeah, so to all our listeners out there, forget about secrets and techniques. Focus on being your best self, treat people with respect, and embrace the journey of building real connections. Who knows what you might find along the way?
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the real path to fulfilling relationships.